Tony, a frustrating series, especially the last 3 games. How do you assess things overall, and maybe even the last 2 games in particular?
Last 2 or last 3?
Well, the last 3 and the last 2, kind of some similarities.
I'd kind of lump the last 3 all together. I mean, the scoreboard, if you're going to always say the scoreboard will go up and down, numbers will go up and down, you can't waver on that belief. That's still my belief, but all 3 kind of had similar things going on where, there was either defensive mistakes, guys not running the bases hard enough or smart enough. Pitchers, for the most part, especially Webby today, I thought Roop yesterday, they got after it, but not good enough on a couple of occasions on the pitching end of things. All I could ever ask is for guys to come in out of the pen and attack. So I saw blips of the last 2 innings, so I don't know that was necessarily an issue there.
When a team is in a little bit of a funk or rut like this, how do you pull them out of it?
I don't think there's any magic solution, but the one thing about playing well and getting good results, I should say, it covers up mistakes and they go by the wayside. And when you're not playing well, everybody notices everything. Fans, media, players, families, coaches. You start to notice every little thing, whether it's, lack of this or lack of that. So at least now they become a talking point. And the wise thing, in my opinion, to do is pick out the things you can eliminate because you can control them, and eliminate them because they're clearly not working. And then, on the flip side of that, the things that are being done well or being done in a high percentage form, that can, I would feel the way our starters are approaching the things, you emphasize it as a strength and continue forward.
Tony, what was your view of the play with Gerard that you got ejected on?
Dead in line with where I was standing, and the throw was missed arm side, which often happens. Well, you guys just got done, and the fans got done talking about for 3 days a throw that missed arm side, and our first baseman, the ball, a big dude, and the first baseman all are meeting at the same time. It's part of the game. I wish there was a solution that would remove it, but I just went through a deal where they have 2 bases at first base, which, not my place to say none of the players like that, but that doesn't solve the issue. Maybe eliminate some collisions a little bit. Don't ever want to see anybody get hurt, but when the ball and the first baseman and the runner get there at the same time, that's the closest we'll ever get to football. Now that you can't take out the catcher, which is fortunate that that's removed as well. So I didn't watch the replay. Like I said, I saw it from a great angle. Umpire couldn't have been better with balls and strikes. I'm sure he got it exactly technically right. It's just a play I've got a lot of history for. A little frustrated about something else that occurred in the game. And then we're dying to get J.O. in the game. I think you guys are too. In my mind, we lost a double there, so there's a little bit of frustration. But like I said, got a ton of history with that play. Lost a game to Lipscomb on that play. Lost a game to Frank Anderson in a Big 12 championship on that play. The difference between the two that I'm talking about, and I could talk about others, is the runner, in Frank's instance, I'll call his team cheaters, completely interfered with the throwing lane for the pitcher. So again, umpires are held accountable by what the rules are, and they enforce those rules. And I didn't watch the replay. I'm sure they did it 100% to the T, but from my perspective, plays that end up between the mound and the third baseline, the runner's not going to have much to do with it.
Not to get too esoteric about it, but Gerard was on the grass. You're not automatically out for being on the grass, only if the umpire sees that the runner impedes the throw. The throw didn't hit the runner, but what was the explanation given to you for why the umpires made that judgment call?
That he was on the inside of the line, which is illegal, and the runner's box deal, which again I became a lot more familiar with the second base at first base, the safety base or whatever it is. It works well for a left-hander because you never even really have to cross into fair territory if you take your best route to first base. But as a right-hander, in particular, when you get, if I'm not mistaken, he was out front, you're going to end up in there. So it's up to the base runner, to do what he can to get, moved over and get into that running lane.
You mentioned there was something else you were peeved about in the game. Can you give us an idea what it was?
I mean, just something that went on in the half inning, which was no big deal, just personal tangent. Half inning, no play or anything like that. Just middle of Webby's inning when he's grinding it out. So, again, more just trying to compete at the same level as Webby is. And he definitely went out on a shield in that inning and went out in successful fashion. It's disappointing we couldn't get him a win, if anything.
Tony, did you feel like the ejection was warranted? And then how difficult was it for you to watch that game unfold from the clubhouse?
It's hard to watch on TV. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty to criticize, but if I'm honest, I didn't see every play just because it's a lot, it's a lot more difficult. So in between getting changed real quick and saw most of the plays, that's a lot more nerve-wracking than it would ever be being in the dugout. And then probably, I mean, I was trying to give a correct answer to the umpire's explanation. I think he basically just kind of stated the rules at home plate. And then, I said one last thing just out of, frustration or being all fired up that was complete nonsense. I think it was misinterpreted a little bit, but you're on the field that long and you're not a player, you're probably out of place a little bit.
You talked on the first homestand about maybe catching the ball a little bit better, being a little bit cleaner. What have you thought of the 10 games here and how many balls are getting away from you guys?
Same as you. Disappointing and want better. So you could pull them out case by case and say, well, this one just had a little bit of this or this one had a little bit of this. But where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's too much of it. So, again, if you did pull them out and grade them out, like this one shouldn't have happened, this one should have happened, you could probably do the same thing for how to prevent this, how to prevent that, what adjustments need to be made. I don't, they're all in one category, but I don't think there's one particular thing, overall that's the one specific theme.
You mentioned the base running. Chapman's usually such a savvy base runner. Did you have a chance to talk to him about?
No, I didn't ask any of the coaches. I mean, they came back immediately, and of course, you're discussing, plays in the game. But I didn't even ask. When you're in the moment of competing, maybe things are seen differently than if you're in the dugout. But yeah, it'd be nice to get a second base runner on in that situation. So.
I can't remember if it was the 7th or the 8th inning, but Bader and Jung-Hoo almost kind of had a collision out there in right center field. Was that just a communication error on their end, or what did you see on that one?
I mean, similar deal with Lindor's. Since I seen him in high school, he's one of the most impressive baseball players I've ever seen. And, we had a ball drop in between him and their center fielder, and it looked like either one of them could have made the play, but it also looked like they could have collided. So that's just something that I think is a stark difference between, with the crowd noise. So I don't know how well they can hear or not, or if that's something they just need to communicate a little bit better. But Bader also had a ball fall in, when we were on offense where two guys, didn't collide but didn't catch the ball either. So I think in the parks that we play in, crowd noise, it's something you got to overcome, and, don't ever want to see anybody get hurt. If everyone's going to come out unscathed, they'll take whatever kind of contact we get as long as we make the catch. But kind of seen it work in our favor, and, in that occasion, could have worked against us. So something to make sure we're on the same page for. And Jung-Hoo's good about, I know you could come up with a theory, but he's pretty good about communicating out there and knowing how to direct traffic in baseball terms.
Luckily, baseball's a game. We play 162 games. We're 10 games in. Obviously, not making any excuses or saying that it's okay that we're playing this way, but it starts with me. I have not pitched well at all. Yeah, like I said, there's 152 games left in the season. I don't really look at the standings very often, but I bet you if you look at the standings, it'd probably say we're 2 games out of a wild card spot. So I think before anyone hits the panic button, I think you just got to take a deep breath. We played some good teams, and just go out there tomorrow and try to compete. That's it. That's all you got to do.
Was there a carryover, you think, from your last start where it looked like it was kind of rocky, and then you got out of it the last 2 innings, and you looked really good in the last 2 innings? Did that carry over to today?
Oh, yeah, probably. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff that in between that I've been working on a lot. So, yeah, definitely it was a little bit of a confidence boost last game, the last couple innings, and yeah, felt really good today. So hopefully just keep that going.
Did you cross paths with Tony at all after he was ejected?
I did not know.
I think you had like 13 or 14 ground ball outs. In a lot of ways, it was kind of a vintage start from you. Was that the two-seamer? Is that the changeup? What do you think kind of led to those results?
I think it was a mix of both. You know, I felt like it was going back to the last start. I feel like my two seams in a really good spot, especially when I'm throwing it down in zone. And kind of just went with what Patty was calling today. And, you know, as much as I think every pitch is good or bad or whatever, Patty's the one that's catching it. So I thought he did a great job today, just calling pitches, mixing things up. Like I said, just trying to find a rhythm, get back to what I kind of do well. Not trying to overcomplicate things and let the infielders do their work.